Good evening, everybody. Good evening. We'll be starting shortly. Good evening, everybody. We'll be starting very, very soon. Good evening. Thank you for joining, guys. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. If you can hear me, say hi in the comment section. Our speaker is already here. If you can hear me, just type hi. Good evening, Abubakar. Thank you for joining. Please let's go to the platform and encourage other people to join as we'll be starting now. Welcome, Abubakar. Thank you for joining. Our speaker is already here and we'll be bringing him on stage shortly. So let's go to the platform and encourage other people to join us now as we'll be starting. You're welcome. You're welcome. So I'll be bringing our speaker on stage now. Let me invite him on stage. Good evening, sir. Kadri. Good evening, sir. Can you hear us, sir?
All right. Yes. Good evening. Good evening. I can hear you very well. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
yes, I can hear you, sir. Yes, I can. Good evening, sir. So I'll be giving you the floor to speak really shortly. So you're welcome, sir, and thank you for joining us as early as you did. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you too for having me here.
Thank you for having a brief introduction. Can we hear me, please? I want to be sure that we can hear me. If you can hear me, just type in the comment section that you can hear. Okay, so Mr. Kadri will be representing our speaker for tonight in person. He's on transit, so he wouldn't be able to join us. But Mr. Kadri here will be representing him. And guys, I want us to give him the utmost cooperation. And of course, stay attentive because you're going to be learning a lot from this session, guys. Thank you all so much. Thank you, sir. So, sir, you have the floor now, sir. Well,
Okay. Okay. Good evening. But before I start, can I just find out how long do I have here? How many minutes are you
okay,
timing me?
okay. Because today is Saturday, we want to end by 9:30 max.
So we just have less than 20 minutes.
20 minutes, yes, sir.
Okay, so let's just go on. So yes, good evening, everyone. I'm not going to bore you with introduction and the likes. So let's just go straight to the point. You already know my name. My name is Badi Bokadiri, and I'm representing my friend and my is a partner and also a friend. And he sent the when he sent the topic to me, I was just like, that you guys you want to talk about property valuation. At this is a very broad, it's a very broad topic. Apart from the fact that it's a very broad topic, and I have a foundation. I studied estate management in school, and I remember when we were in school, when they start valuation, principles of valuation, the calculations, I always like, let them finish, because you do that in your first semester, second semester, and so and so and so and so forth. But I've been able to find a way to break this down to a layman understanding. So we're looking at property valuation, and let me confirm the topic again. Sorry, I'm coming. So, what is the worth of that property? The indices of property valuation. Now, before we treat this topic, we have to look at property valuation as what is the meaning of property valuation? Now, property valuation, now you need to think of it as figuring out the most likely price of a property the property would sell for in the current market. Now, the current market where we operate, especially in Nigeria, is a willing buyer and willing seller market where government does not fix the price, individuals fix the price. And property valuation, it's like I said, it's a course on its own, it's also a field on its own. And the people who deal with this are called estate surveyors and valuers. And the definition, it's an art and also a science. It's a science in the sense that you need some calculations, and there are some what's it called? There are some what's that word that when you're doing calculations? There's some formulas you used, and you do calculations. And it's also an art in the sense that you also use your sense of use. There's that you need a certain level of judgment to determine the price and what the value of the property is. So, like I said, it's an art and also it's a science. A science because we use formulas, we use calculations. It's an art because you use your sense of judgment. Because there are some properties that you may not even have what to compare, prices to compare. You just have to just use, maybe you have historical background, you have a certain level of knowledge, you have an experience, you can do that to do your calculation. But I'm not going to do a lot of numbers here so that you can understand it properly. So now, let's now look at the common methods that people use in doing property valuation. That is the approaches. There are different approaches. There is the sales comparison approach. There is the investment or the income approach. There's also the profits and account approach. There is the development of the residual method, and there's also the cost approach of determining the value of a property. But we're not going to treat all those ones because those ones are really, there are some technical parts. But let's just pick a few of them. Now, we'll look at the sales and comparison approach, or the comparative market analysis. Sales or comparison approach, or the comparative market analysis. Now, is widely used. Now, this is the most popular, especially for residential properties. And it's all about looking at what similar properties in the same area have sold recently. So how it works is that you identify properties, you look at the comparables, properties that are similar to the subject property that you want to value, in terms of the size, in terms of the age, in terms of the condition, in terms of the number of bedrooms, in terms of the bathrooms, in terms of the location and the likes. Take for instance, you are giving a brief to sell a property I know you guys are in Abuja, but we are in Lagos. And imagine you are giving a brief to sell a property in Lekki. Before you don't just come up with a figure. No, you have to go around, do your due diligence, find out what has been sold. If it is a 2-bedroom apartment, you go around to find out, okay, how much are people selling properties, 2-bedroom apartments within this neighborhood. Now, the kind of two-bedroom apartment, because it is not all two-bedroom apartments that should sell at equal amounts. There are some two-bedroom apartments that their finishing is top-notch. So there's a certain level that you should sell. There's a certain amount you should sell. So you will do that comparison. So that is the comparison method. You are going to analyze the sales price of this comparable and adjust them based on any differences they are compared that you have compared to the subject property. So like I said, let's just give an example. Let's say your friend's property is a three-bedroom bungalow in Lekki, and you use the sales comparison approach. You look at so you will look at you will look for other three-bedroom. You will look for other three-bedroom apartments, bungalows in Lekki that have sold recently, and if you find out that the comparable price is maybe 80 million naira, and it's similar to what your friend or the person who gave you the brief says that you should sell or you should market. If it is 80 million naira, if it is worth it, then you put that price that okay, well, this property is worth 80 million. So that is for the sales comparison approach. Now we'll look at the cost approach. Now this cost approach, it's a method that it just estimates the value of property by considering the cost of building a new similar property on the land minus any depreciation, that's wear and tear, obsolescence, and the likes. So what this is just saying is, take for instance, they are telling you to, it's mostly used for construction, and it's not just for residential, it's used for a lot of valuation and determine the price in for a lot of properties. So let's take for instance, you are told to determine, let's say you are told to determine a block of apartments. What is the value of a block of apartments? Say two-bedroom apartments on a plot of land, and there are 12 units. How will you determine the cost? How will you determine the value? So you will bring in a quantity surveyor or an engineer to give you the cost estimate of what it will cost to build that on the land. That, and then you will do depreciation and the likes and all that for you to determine the price. So how it works is that it involves estimating the current cost of the land as if it were vacant, then adding the cost to construct the buildings and improvement as at today's prices. So it's not going to use, if the building maybe was built 5 years or 10 years ago, it's not use 5 years ago's cost. It will use today's cost to determine the cost of, the value of that property. And you now depreciate. There's always depreciation, because whether you like it or not, the a property or a building will not be the same for a long time. There will be a depreciation in it. So you deduct the depreciation um, that the property or the building may have incurred. Now, the best use for this kind of this cost approach is for newer properties, special purpose properties like factories or churches, where there are no comparable sales, and also for insurance valuation. So that's why I said this is mostly for, it's a technical part for professionals, especially when they are doing that. It's just part of the technical part. So I'll just give that summary. So another approach is the income capitalization approach. Now, this method is primarily used for income generating properties like rental properties, office buildings, or shopping centers. It values the property based on its potential to generate income. Now, this is how it works. It works by you estimating the property's future net operating income, and then you divide by the capitalization rate. Now, this capitalization rate reflects the risk and the return expectations for similar properties in the market. In Nigeria, in most parts of Nigeria, the capitalization rate of most properties falls between 4% to 6%. It's even abroad, most properties fall, cap rates are mostly between 4 to 6%, some 10%. But this income capitalization approach, if assuming you are told to determine the value of, let's say, short let rental property, you are going to get the net operating income of that property. What is net operating income? What I just saying is, assuming you are earning let's say you're earning 10 million naira from an apartment and you have 12 apartments. So 10 million times 12, that's about 120 million naira. But that is not actually your income. There is a net operating income because there are some costs that you will bear. So you will deduct those costs for you to now get your net operating income. So when you've now got your net operating income, you will now divide it by the capitalization rate. So take for instance, if an apartment building generates 10 million naira per year and the prevailing cap rate for similar properties in the area is 5%, the estimated value would be 10 million divided by 5%, which would be 200 million naira. 200 million naira. I don't know if we have much time, so I'm trying to just summarize everything so that we'll still fit into that 20 minutes. But let's look at the comparative market analysis in more details. Now, since this topic similarly, you are really mentioning and we're focused on market analysis and the likes. It's good that we understand some key aspects because as a real estate professional, you don't just work blindly. You need data. And most times you get your data from property listing sites like maybe Nigerian Property Center. I think GG has a listing site, and I think Private Property NG and all these listing sites. You get that for to get your data. You can also visit the government to get data and all that and the likes, which is very important. And when selecting or comparing properties, you need to factor in a lot of things. You need to factor in location, proximity to amenities, schools, transportation, the overall desirability of the neighborhood. These things are very crucial. You need to look at the type of the property and the size. You need to look at the age and the condition. You need to look at the features and amenities. You need to look at the date of sale. That you need to, I said data is very important. So you need to look at all these things. And these are a lot of things. So now, what is the worth of that property, which is the indices of property valuation? Now, the indices of property valuation, it just refers to the key factors or characteristics that influence a property's worth. Now, these are the elements that valuers, like I said, I said the professionals that do property valuation are known as estate surveyors and valuers. Now, these are the elements that valuers consider when determining the property's market value. You have to think of them as the ingredients in the property value recipe. There are some property indices like it's popular location. Location is very important because this is often cited in most significant factor as the most significant factor. It covers your neighborhood, accessibility, amenities, environmental factors, future development, physical characteristics, size and layouts, age and condition, materials and finishes, architectural design and style, special features, legal, regulatory. Okay, you also have the legal and regulatory factors. You need to look at title, tenure. When you are buying into real estate, you are not buying land. You are not buying a house. You are buying the interest. That is the rights, the legal rights on that property. That's why we do a lot of documentation, and there are some legal issues that you need to factor in when you are doing your valuation. So these things are very important. Your title, you look at the zoning regulations, you look at building codes and permits. Remember I mentioned the cost approach. This is where building codes and permits will come into play. You also look at property taxes. You need to look at market conditions. You also need to look at supply and demand because it's very important. Like I said, we're in a willing buyer, willing seller market. You cannot put a high value in a place where there is no demand and where there is of oversupply. You are just shooting yourself in the leg. So and another thing you have to look at is interest rates. These things are key. As a real estate professional, you need to understand how interest rates affect the value of properties. You look at mortgages and even you need also interest rates also affect how value will go up, how it will go down. Because a lot of developers and investors borrow money from the bank. Even though they are not borrowing money but from the bank, they will look at the opportunity cost, interest rate comes in. So you have to factor this. You have to look at economic growth, you have to look at inflation, government policies, and the likes. So I'm going to stop here. We've done our 20 minutes. I'll stop here, and I think I'll throw it up. If you have questions, please feel free to ask questions. And thank you so much. That's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Wow, wow. Like, I've jotted down a lot. Like, within these 20 minutes, I have really, gained value. And if you have also gained value, guys, let's express ourselves in the comment section. Thank you so much, sir. But if you still have other important things to, still mention, we can give you a bit more time to do that. Sir, are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you. You said come again. Sorry.
I said if you still have like other important points to mention, we can still give you 5 minutes to round up, sir.
Okay. Okay. Let me just add this because I wrote this down. That there are investment potential for income generating properties. When I was saying the sales comparison, I also said the investment and income method. That's the investment and income approach. There's some factors you need to consider, like the rental income. You look at the current and potential rental income the property can generate. As a professional, you look at all these things. If you are pitching an investment, a real estate investment to a client, you look at rental income. It's very key. You need to take data, very important. You factor in some past information, because sometimes I hear some people say, this place is going to increase in value and blah 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 blah. And sometimes I ask this question, that what are the indices that you use to determine how far this place will increase in value? I'll give you an instance. In Lagos, there was a time when, before Ibejuleki blew, in fact, before even this part of Lekki blew, we had Mowe. We even had Ikorodu. People were selling Mowe, they were selling Ikorodu. What were the things that they were looking at to sell those places? Because if you look at the value, because I remember then the value of properties in Mowe was almost similar to some parts of Lekki. But today you can't compare the value to parts of Lekki today. Even parts of Ibeju Lekki, there are some factors you look at. That's why I said data is important. So you can easily say, okay, I see potential, but there are some places
Can you
that
hear me,
we
sir?
need to. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Guys, can we hear me? Is that my network?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Can we hear me, please? Is that my network?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Patience.
Can they hear me?
Like, yes, we can hear you now, sir.
Okay. Okay, so I was saying data is very important. You look at rental income, look at past data and also current data. It will help you a lot. And you now also look at vacancy rates. As an investor, you're selling an income generating property. Your vacancy rate is important to know. Especially if you are doing shortlets, you want to sell shortlets, you want to sell a rental property, you need to factor that in. Vacancy rate is just telling you how soon and how long will it take for a property to remain in the market before a buyer or a renter takes it. You look at how long most properties have stayed in the market, then you can advise your client properly so they are prepared. And then, I said your operating expenses. A lot of people who do shortlet, they don't look at their operating expenses, and it's very important. Even people who do rental properties don't look at their operating expenses. Just build and we leave everything for God to take charge. And the last thing is the capitalization
Hello,
rate.
sir.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I guess his network. Can we hear me, please? If you can hear me, just type in the comment section. If you can hear me, type in the comment section. Let's quickly do that. If you can hear me, I want to be sure that. Okay, all right, all right. Thank you very much. I guess our speaker is having a little bit of network glitch. All right. Thank you so much. Before he comes back, let's you know, if you have any question so far from everything he has, spoken tonight, if you have any question, just indicate in the comment section so I can bring you up on stage. So let's quickly do that. Do we have questions for our speaker tonight? Do we have question for our speaker tonight? Okay, is it my network? I guess it's my network. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you. I can hear
Okay.
you well.
Okay, I think it's my own network then. Sorry about that, sir.
No problem.
All right, thank you, sir. So, do we have questions, guys? Do we have questions before we call it a night? All right. So in case you remember any question you want to ask, you can drop it on the group, or you send it directly to my DM. So thank you so much, sir Gbadebo Kadri. We are really, really honored to have you. Personally, I enjoyed your session and I've jotted down so many things. There were even some words that I was just hearing for the first time. Thank you so much, sir. It's just a testament to your expertise. Thank you, and we are deeply grateful to have you, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you too for having me. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So if we have any questions, let's do well to, send it to my DM or send it to the group, and I'll forward it to our speaker to respond. Thank you guys so much. And let's also go to the group and express our, how happy we were. I believe that we all gained value. I'm certain. Thank you all so much for joining and staying till this time. And don't forget to also subscribe so that you can be notified of all the lives that we'll be having during this 30 days sales challenge. And I believe that at the end of this challenge, we are going to be, sales pro. Okay, somebody just dropped a question. Sir, are you still with us, sir? Sir, can you
Okay,
hear?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with
Okay.
you.
So the question is about the value comparison. Must a realtor consultant, okay, must a realtor consult surveyor, or can someone go about asking the value of neighboring properties?
Okay, for that I think that you are saying the sales approach, right? Sales comparison approach, right?
Yes, yes. So he's asking that must we involve a surveyor, or can we just go around, asking people around the neighboring property?
Okay, I mean, if you don't have a relationship with a surveyor, you can actually go around. You can ask people, ask other colleagues, ask around. You can even go to people, landlords or property owners who are in that neighborhood, and you heard that. Because whether you like it or not, these people have information, so you can go around and just ask them if you have relationship with them. Just feel free to get your information the best way you can get it. Doesn't have to be from surveyors. Although
All right.
if you have
Okay.
surveyors as friends or you have existing relationship with them, why not?
All right. Thank you so much for that response. I believe our speaker has answered your question, Mr. Abubakar. If you are with us, you can you can respond to. I believe your question has been answered, Sam. All right, so thank you all so much for joining. Let's go to the platform and I'll appreciate our speaker. I'll be sending him all the reviews. So let's go and drop our, appreciation message and type in exactly as we feel. Tomorrow there's no class. What we have is an activity. So make sure you engage in every activity that will be dropping on the platform. Thank you all so much. Until we come again, it is your host, Muhammad Raji Nana Hanato Abiola. Good night, everybody. And thank you, sir, once again. We are really grateful for having you. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you and good night.
Good night, everybody. Guys, let's also not forget, make sure you subscribe on to this channel. Let's subscribe to this channel. And yeah, let's also share our group link to other people on the platform to be a part of this amazing opportunity. Like I said, the classes that we've been taking are classes that they pay big to learn. And all these things, you are going to be learning them for free. At least tomorrow, when somebody's talking about property valuation, you will not be a novice. And they will not cheat you. They will not cheat you because we all know what is happening now at days. So once you have that knowledge, it can't be taken away from you. So guys, let's go and appreciate our speaker. Thank you all so much for our responses. Good night, everybody.